Allegiant is a science fiction novel for young adults, written by the American author Veronica Roth and published by HarperCollins in October 2013. It completes the Divergent trilogy that Roth inaugurated with her debut novel Divergent in 2011. The book is written from the perspective of both Beatrice and Tobias. Allegiant was published simultaneously by the HarperCollins imprints Katherine Tegen Books in the US and HarperCollins Children's Books in the UK. 4 weeks earlier, a free electronic companion book to the trilogy was released online. Theme: the background to the story, revealed in the first novel of the trilogy, explains how a ruined Chicago in the near future is divided into 5 separate factions. They are abnegation, meant to uphold selflessness; amity, meant to uphold peacefulness; candor, meant to uphold honesty; dauntless, meant to uphold bravery; and erudite, meant to uphold knowledge. Triss is tested with equal aptitude for abnegation, erudite, and dauntless, 3 different factions. This classifies her as divergent, and she is warned never to share this information with anyone for fear of her life. Those who are divergent are hunted and killed by the ruthless leader of erudite, and those who fail the initiation of their particular faction are deemed factionless. Plot: Triss is shocked by the video released to the public at the end of the raid on erudite headquarters. The video revealed the truth about the faction system and announced that the divergent are needed outside the borders of the city. The most important thing about this video is that Triss is not sure that she should trust the people outside the fence. In the end of this video, the girl who was narrating the video mentions the name prior, Triss' last name. Factionless leader Evelyn Johnson appoints herself leader of the city, forcing people to operate under her command and live as equal, factionless citizens. Tension between the factionless and former faction members escalates, culminating in a deadly fight over the bowls used at the faction-choosing ceremony. Triss questions Evelyn's motives and is kidnapped by the Allegiant, a rebel group determined to reinstate their old way of life, who invite her to a meeting the following night. Meanwhile, Triss' brother Caleb is put on trial for assisting former erudite leader Jeanine Matthews. Caleb's betrayal prevents Triss from completely forgiving her brother. Tobias informs Triss that Caleb was found to be a traitor and sentenced to execution in 2 weeks. The Allegiant, led by Kara and Johanna, plan to send a group outside the city to find the truth. Triss volunteers to go on one condition, that Caleb is taken with them. Tobias breaks Caleb out of his cell. Tobias takes a gun from Zek, hits him to make it more believable, and he and Caleb jump on a train with Triss to escape the city. Tobias, Triss, Christina, Kara, Uriah, Tori, Peter, and Caleb are ambushed after they jumped off the train, resulting in Tori's death. Driving through the unknown, they meet Zoe and Emma, Tobias' former instructor who was believed dead, supposedly killed for being divergent. Zoe and Emma take the group to the Bureau of Genetic Welfare, where they meet Tori's brother George, who is also a divergent thought to be dead. Here they learn the truth about their society. Many years ago, the government believed that society's problems were caused by people's bad genes. In an attempt to create a better society, they began to fix people's genes with disastrous results. To fix its mistake, the government set up experiments, establishing isolated cities across the remains of the United States in the hopes of raising enough genetically pure individuals to fix the genetic damage left in the wake of the Purity War. Triss and Tobias are tested by Matthew and Nita to verify and study their divergence. While Triss is shown to be truly divergent, Tobias' genetic structure indicates that his genes are still damaged. Tobias is angered by this news and begins to believe that he is a damaged human being. Matthew then brings Triss to the leader of the Bureau, David, to find out the truth about her mother. David gives Triss her mother's journal. Meanwhile, Tobias is secretly asked to join a rebellion, led by Nita, who is also genetically damaged. She tells him that the Bureau is lying when they say genetic damage is the cause of society's problems. She intends to demonstrate that the genetically pure are flawed as well. Tobias tells Triss about the plan, going against Nita's warning to keep it secret. Triss is unsure, but Tobias tells her that she is unregistered trademark being jealous of Nita and he agrees to help. Shortly afterwards, Nita and her allies attack the compound, severely injuring Uriah in one of two explosions. Triss saves David from being shot by Nita and stops the attack, and Nita is imprisoned for her crimes. After the attack, Triss confronts Tobias and temporarily ends their relationship. Triss is then offered a position on the Bureau's council and is told of the events taking place within the city, including the Allegiant's preparations for war with Evelyn and the factionless. David is desperate to stop the violence and maintain his life's work at the expense of destroying the personalities of everyone in the city. He decides to use the memory serum to wipe the memories of the people within the city, allowing the experiment to begin with a clean slate. Triss learns that the Bureau created the serums that led to the destruction of Abnegation and the enslaving of Dauntless. Repulsed by the Bureau's actions and David's decision, Triss reconciles with Tobias. With her friends, she begins to create a plan to save her city. The group decides to break into the weapons lab and use the memory serum to wipe the memories of the Bureau. The lab is guarded by a fatal dose of the death serum, rendering it a suicide mission. Caleb volunteers for the role, tearfully asking Triss if it will make her forgive him for everything he has done. Triss says yes. Tobias, Christina, Peter, and Amar plan to go into the city to inoculate their loved ones against the serum. Christina is able to retrieve doses of the inoculation serum and tells the group to inject themselves with it. Tobias notices that Peter only pretends to inject himself. Christina gives an extra vial of memory serum to Tobias, for use against either Marcus or Evelyn in the hopes of bringing an end to the conflict in the city. Tobias decides to confront Evelyn. Taking Peter and the vial of memory serum, Tobias meets with his mother and gives her the option of drinking it, which will allow her to end the fighting, be born anew, and become his mother again. She embraces Tobias without taking the serum. They meet with Johanna and Marcus to iron out an end to the conflict. On the way out of Erudite headquarters, Peter laments his bad behavior and violent tendencies which he knows will never change, and says he wants to take the memory serum to become a new person. Tobias gives Peter the serum, erasing his mind for good. At the Bureau, Caleb is ready to sacrifice himself, but he and Triss, who accompanied him, are ambushed by Bureau guards. Triss pulls her gun on Caleb and decides to carry out the mission herself, knowing that Caleb volunteered out of regret for his former actions rather than out of love for her. She hopes that her resistance to serums will include the death variant. Not knowing if she will survive, Triss tells Caleb that if she does not return, he should tell Tobias she did not want to leave him. Triss destroys the entrance to the lab and is exposed to the death serum, but survives. David comes within the lab and explains that her collusion with the genetically damaged did not go unnoticed. David shoots Triss, who lunges for the memory serum and releases it. Triss slowly slips into darkness until she sees her mother reach out for her. She gladly accepts her mother's embrace, succumbing to her wounds and passing away. Tobias, Peter, and Christina return to the compound and are told about Triss' death by Kara. Caleb gives Tobias Triss' final message. Tobias is angered that Triss died for Caleb even after his betrayal. Before walking away, Caleb replies that Triss never wanted to leave him. Uriah is taken off life support, a decision made by Zek and his mother, with Tobias still believing that Uriah's death was partially his fault. Tobias returns to his home in the old Abnegation sector. After cutting his hair, Tobias is ready to use the memory serum on himself, hoping to remove the loss of Triss and Uriah from his memory. Christina convinces him to not use it, saying that Triss would want him to remember her. Acknowledging the need to move on, Tobias and Christina walk back together. 2.5 years later, Chicago is finally at peace, with former faction members, factionists, compound members, and other outsiders moving in and out of the city. Tobias accepts all that he has been through and reflects on his belief that while life damages everyone, over time, people can always be mended. Background, development. On July 18, at the San Diego Comic-Con panel for Divergent, Roth revealed that Allegiant is from both Triss and Fury unregistered trademark S point of view. Talking about this, she said that I tried repeatedly to write Allegiant and just trees a unregistered trademark S voice, but it didn't unregistered trademark T work. Her perspective, her way of seeing things, was a little too limited for the story I needed to tell. I wanted to do two things with it, A, let two characters experience different things, and B, let them react differently to the same things, so that I would get a better sense of the whole story, the whole picture. She further said that unregistered trademark they said before that unregistered trademark they always seen for as a plot mover alongside Tris, so he was the obvious choice for the second POV. Exploring him and his choices and his assumptions about the world was incredibly interesting to me. Title. Talking about the title of the book, Roth said that she never wanted it to rhyme with Divergent and Insurgent and said that I did not go through other ideas. It was always, Allegiant, which he defined as one who is loyal or faithful to a particular cause or person. Cover art. The cover contains the image of O'Hare International Airport of Chicago, which implies that the story will take the protagonist much farther than the city and its surrounding area. The world of Divergent, the path to Allegiant. The book includes 10 teasers as well as 8 different quotes from the different chapters of the Allegiant. Entertainment Weekly magazine released a quote from the Chapter 7 of Allegiant by Tris featured in The World of Divergent, The Path to Allegiant on August 29, 2013. Critical reception. In a review for Entertainment Weekly, Hilary Bizis gave the novel B+ and wrote that the novel was "if you've already been sucked into Roth's world, you'll appreciate the book's twisty plot which provides needed context for the series' prefabricated society and its chastely torrid Tris Tobias love scenes." Publisher Weekly said in its review that the alternating perspectives are bothersome at times, due to the similarity between Tris and Tobias unregistered trademark S first-person narratives. However, for those who have faithfully followed these 5 factions, and especially the dauntless duo who stole hearts 2 books ago, this final installment will capture and hold attention until the divisive final battle has been waged. Film adaptations. On December 16, 2013, Summit Entertainment announced that the film adaptation of Allegiant would be released on March 18, 2016. On April 11, 2014, Lionsgate announced that the film adaptation would be split into 2 films titled the Divergent series, Allegiant Part 1 and the Divergent series, Allegiant Part 2. Part 2 has a release date of March 24, 2017. On July 9, 2014, Lionsgate recruited Noah Oppenheim to write the screenplay for Part 1. References. External links. Allegiant on Google Books, Veronica Roth's official website.